The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Wow, we're okay. Sorry, I was reading something on social media. Hi, good. Welcome. I'm Louis Dix. It's DIX. Name of the show is In a Man's World. As you can see, Jeff Arnold is doing a photo shoot. I got a text from him this morning that he's doing, this is his second photo shoot. It's my understanding Russell Westbrook, the basketball player, has a clothing line. And it's for young people and seniors and young men who are in shape. And someone sent me this a couple weeks ago, a picture and said, "Hey, is this Jeff?" And I was like, I don't know. Then I looked at it closely. You know, after 30 years, you see little features and say, "Oh, that's him." Like if someone knew me, they'd look, is that Lou? Then they'd, the nose, say, "All right, that's him." And Jeff, it's a certain thing you have to look at, and you're like, "Oh, that's him." And I looked at that, and I was, "Oh, yeah, that is him." So I asked him about it. This was a couple weeks ago, and he told me about it. So then he hits me with a text this morning, and I didn't get it until the boss lady told me he wasn't coming because he has. It says, I was just reading it. It said that doing another photo shoot for Russell Westbrook's clothing line won't make it to the podcast. First of all, I didn't know it was a podcast that we were doing.
It is. What do you think it is?
I thought it was a radio show. I'm old. I think it was a radio show. I didn't know it was a podcast. So I thought a podcast was when you sit in your room. You know, I didn't know. You come to a studio, it's a radio show. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So
it's an internet radio show, actually.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I didn't feel. But podcast seems more. And then along with that message, he sends me a picture of him.
Okay, wait. He sent me like 7 pictures, so I got him right here.
Well, he knew better than to send me 7 pictures. Okay, that's the one he sent me.
Okay, well, this is one.
Yeah, that's not the girl that you asked me about. But she looks like she's asleep. She looks like she's like.
Well, he has on pajamas.
Okay, and what is she?
Well, that's what that looks like.
Yeah, lounge wear, but he's not holding her convincingly. Well, that he's doing better because he's from Chicago and they step. Can you go back to the first picture? The first picture, no, I don't believe that, kids. Not that. I meant the second one. And her look, I don't know who told her to look like that. She could be looking up at him. I would have directed that differently. And Jeff's a director too. But his right hand looks awkward. It doesn't look like, it looks very posed.
What, the one that's down?
No, the right hand on the shoulder. Do you see how it's placed? That doesn't look like they're together. That looks good. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a cute.
That's a good one.
That's a cute.
That's a good
too.
one. That's a nice picture. No, that doesn't. that it looked like they both just got out of jail, and they trying to figure out how to make a living because they both got their hands folded the same way. I'm assuming that's a sweatpants. Look at
sweatsuit
because they didn't hem it right. Look at the bottom right. I know we're hating on it. Maybe that's how it's supposed to lay. But okay, all right. That looks like a blended family. Again, with the hand on the shoulder, he doesn't do that right. And the little dark kid looks scared, like she's in that movie.
Somebody said the color was pumpkin cream on the last photo.
Okay. But doesn't that pumpkin, yeah, that's ugly. It's not, it looks more like taupe. I've heard. Now, the girl, I don't know if that's a girl or a boy, the darker kid.
It looks like a boy.
Okay, but doesn't he look like the kid in that movie where they were being, not us or something? Do you know what I'm saying? That movie where the horror movie.
Yeah, it was Us.
Us. Okay. Yeah. Can you go back to that picture? Because that's a funny. Now I'm trying to see the family. There's the mother. Now who's the girl? I'm assuming the girl on his left with the little fro is my man's
The
wife.
younger ones probably are grandchildren.
Right, that's what I'm seeing. The Jeff and the woman in the middle, they're the parents, and that boy is not his son. I'm assuming that's the husband. That's the one that married into the family. And the girl looks more like she could be Jeff and the woman's kid.
Right.
The boy looks like somebody stepped in his crib. But it's beautiful. Good for him. Congratulations, Jeff. There you go, Jeff. Now we got to put up with that.
Somebody said Dijon lemon modeling. You gotta add the Dijon.
Yeah, so good for Jeff being a model and for big time clothing. He's just.
Does he actually have an agent?
No, this was a hustle thing. This was someone said, "Hey, use my Russell Westbrook." They said they were looking for an older guy and da da da. And they said, my man's like, you should use my boy Jeff. And Jeff, they said, cool.
Oh, God, we ain't going to be able to fit Jeff's head in here next week.
No, it's just no, you got to have talent to have a big head.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to hate on him. Yes, Jeff, good. Yeah, I'm not supposed to say that. You always hating on me. But he was good. He's good. And I think he had modeling in his background.
Really?
I believe so. We have to ask him about that.
We need to see younger pictures.
Yeah, I believe he, because he came out with suits, and that's a Chicago thing. They always dress. Well, today is today. Dannon Green was supposed to also join us, but he said he had 2 auditions, and he had to drive somewhere for 4 hours. I don't know if he has a show that's 4 hours away. I'm trying to figure out where is it that's 4 hours away. It's not Arizona. Arizona's 6 hours away, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So what place where you can perform is 4 hours away? Bakersfield's too. Is Vegas 4 hours?
Yeah.
Really? I thought Vegas was further than that.
No, Vegas is about 4 hours.
Oh, maybe he has a show in Vegas, but most people say they have a show in Vegas.
That could be anywhere though. That could be Fresno. That could be.
Well, good for him. And I want to say before I go any further, I apologize to the 17 listeners that were listening for jumping off the mic last week.
Oh yeah.
Want to address that. I got a phone call from Dr. Cosby, and he doesn't call often, but when he calls, I take the call because I'm hoping he's saying, check your Cash app. I'm sorry.
And it's funny because he knows that, right? Didn't you say that he said to you the only reason why you're being nice to him because you think he's going to leave you in the will?
Yeah, and that's not true. So I had to take the call, and it was a great conversation. We were discussing some things that he likes to discuss. I did more listening. I mean, it was a 29-minute. I do time the conversation. Well, everybody times the conversation because it's on the cell phone. So it was a 29-minute call, and I when I got off, I was walking back in, and POTUS and Jeff were walking out. He's like, we done. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, so if you didn't catch last week's show, we were talking about the new documentary that's coming out this weekend called Let's Talk About Cosby. And it's from a bunch of like black intellectuals and journalists. What's his name? W. Bell.
Kamal, yeah. And the alleged victims. Yes.
And I didn't get that far in it. They didn't show there was a couple that were in there. But anyway, as we were talking about it, Bill Cosby called Lewis on his cell phone during the show. So my first thought was, oh, he was listening, but apparently he just happened to call, right, Lewis?
Yes. I mean, I don't. He never mentioned that he was listening. He could have been listening, but I'm sure he would have. But I did discuss with him that we were talking about him, but yeah, he just called. That's to the point of people saying you talk someone up. Mm-hmm. You hear that all the time, and it's like, wow, because I was like shocked when I saw it. It was. I'm like, because the phone rings and it's Dr. C. So I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
So did you think when you saw him pop up that he was watching the show?
No, with him, I try not to, I did not think it. I thought maybe
Somebody
somebody
else.
was and hit him. But when they connected me, I'm like, okay, no, just by his tone. Because he says, hey, Dr. Dix, that's what he calls me. And then, or he'll call me coach.
So what did he have to say? It was about the documentary,
Well,
though,
it was just
right?
the gist of him trying to understand. Like, he calls me a lot talking about how, the young comics and we talk about comedy. We talk about, how he's doing and some stuff that he's writing. He'll run by me and ask me that's why I have to listen so intently, because some of his material is so good. You don't want to steal it, but you want to say, oh, okay, I get that. And then we just discussed, I don't think he's watched it, but just the fact of how it, if I had been called to be interviewed about it, et cetera, and all that, and, what I thought. So, it's always interesting to me when he asked me what I thought, because, I've always been honest. Mm-hmm. But, I enjoy talking with him because I learn a lot. And, these are conversations that I'll always have with me, that a lot of stuff I can pass on to these young entertainers. These things he's wisdom that he's bestowed upon me. So, and I've always been, and it's not just him, I've always enjoyed speaking to people in their 70s and 80s. It's so
Does
funny.
he still have all his faculties? Like, is he
he's
still
very.
bright?
He's very alert.
Did he share any jail stories? Prison stories?
Well, one thing I can share was that I had gotten a call from one of his representatives saying that one of my friends was in the prison with him. And I was like, what? What's one of my boys is in jail, And then come to find out it was one of my friends who was
From Philly?
From Philly, who was a guard, prison guard.
Oh, okay.
Who was assigned to him.
And so he's like, do you know my boy Lewis?
Right. So that whole thing was, because most of the people in Philly knew I had worked with him. So my boy and him developed a relationship. Well, of course, they had a relationship. And then they were sharing stories about me. He was sharing stories with Dr. Cosby about my high school days and, how funny I was. And I played football and all that stuff. And then he, really looked out for him. So that was a big thing of 6 degrees of separation. And then my boy, I talked to him, and he was telling me, funny stories and how they all looked out for him and, had his back. So that
Somebody in the chat room, Corey asked, was it Fat Paul?
No, it wasn't.
Peanut or Boogie?
No, Fat Paul it wasn't Fat Paul. It was Fred. No, it wasn't Fred, but Fred knew the prison guard because Fred was a prison guard for 25 years. Okay. Peanut was a hustler. And he owned his own store, neighborhood store. That was Peanut. Now Peanut is a cook. And Fat Paul, I don't know if last time I remember Fat Paul having a job, it was when we were like 17 years old.
Wow.
So I'm not sure exactly. And Boogie works corporate, even though he was a boxer. I'm not sure exactly what Boogie does, but he gets dressed to go to work every day. And Boogie and Peanut and Fred and all of them have been married for over 25 years. To the same Philly girl, which is pretty cool. Fat Paul, he lost his wife, and I did a show, and his wife I kind of made her the show, and she got up and she was in her world, and shortly after that show, she passed. So he was telling me how happy I had made her, and actually Fat Paul just lost his brother, Eric, who was in a wheelchair for like 20 plus years. He had gotten shot. And he was the first person that we knew, a victim that we knew. The first person we knew that was confined to a wheelchair. And they had to redo the house, the ramp. And then he would always referee the games in the wheelchair. When football and the street games, that was Eric's thing. He would stay on the side. And then nobody would listen to him. He'd say incomplete or illegal motion. We're like, man, be quiet. Roll him out of here. We used to clown him. It was really funny, but we had love for him. And we all played chess, so we would play chess with him. And then he would it wasn't an electric wheelchair. We had to push him up the ramp. And he was living on his own, they found him. But so God rest in peace. And it was so that was that. So I apologize. But Jeff, Jeff the model held it down. That's what he does. So, because he was telling me, how great a job he was telling us during the show how great a job he's just so, he's so Jeff. He's so Jeff. He's so Jeff. Yesterday was the 2 days ago. Wednesday was the 26th, right?
Yeah.
And that was the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's passing, the 2-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and the other ones, victims who were on the helicopter. So
yeah, and someone actually bought a 160-pound statue to the crash site. It's I think like a bronze statue of Kobe and Gigi. And so I guess the guy who did it wanted it to, be there officially, but the city was like, nah, we may do a memorial there, but not right now.
Right.
And so, but it's like way out I think you probably have to hike to that site.
Right.
You can't just drive to it.
And I'm sure Americans, being who they are and people, they will hike to it. I'm
sure a lot of people have hiked there.
Yeah, I'm just amazed I was on the way here, I was listening to NPR, and just the different crusades that people have, and you just you marvel at how committed they are to going to other countries, saving kids, saving animals, just the things that you're like, wow, this person, this is their life. They've sacrificed everything that they are going to save a cat. They are going to make cats live better. They're going to make dogs live better. They're going to make alligators live better.
Speaking of that, there was a few cats that hung out around the parking lot here. Mm-hmm. One was Morris, who's been around for 4 years.
Now, did you name him Morris?
Yeah, I named him
I thought
Morris.
He came and said, my name is Morris.
No.
Okay.
I ended up adopting him and taking him home. But we have Charlie that hangs around here. But before, we had a few cats. So there was somebody leaving cat food out in the alley for years. And I was like, who's leaving this cat food? And so finally, I ran into him. He actually came here looking for one of the cats in the neighborhood. A white guy that drives all the way from West Hollywood to come over here to feed the neighborhood cats. He usually kind of traps them too and gets them fixed and then puts them back out on the street. But that's his life.
Right. And I don't want
That is his life. He's a cat man. He goes around neighborhoods.
Right. And then now in my youthful days, before I've matured, I would have said, like most ignorant people say, that white people do this all the time. But now that I've matured and I understand that all people are all people. They're black, white, brown. There's just cat people. There are people who have a sensitivity to the world. The global, the climate, the different things and I was thinking, because I was on campus today looking at these little 7th and 8th and 9th graders, and I'm like, which one of them are going to be that person? And it's some you could tell are not going to be that person. They're going to exploit that little cat person. But I was wondering, how do they develop that? What happens to make for that commitment? I feel somewhat less than, not a lot. I feel like I do
Maybe
what I do.
Maybe growing up with animals, we grew up with dogs. We've always had dogs growing up. So I think that might make people more I guess, sensitive to animals? Is that the
I
question?
don't know. Well, because see, Code 3 and I'll be watching TV, and you know how that dog commercial comes with the sad music.
Dog, yeah.
And Code B3 like, nope. I'm like, she's like, no, that I'm not feeling that dog. She's not, because I was like, you want to get that dog? She's like, no, I'm not getting that dog. And, she's like, no.
But does she like dogs in general?
Not to the point where
she wants one.
Yeah.
She like cats?
No, she's a human person.
Oh.
She's more of saving humans.
She already has a pet.
Oh. True that. And shout out to Code 3. She went on she saved a baby that was abducted.
I know, and you were so proud.
I was.
Louis sent me a picture.
I was.
Code 3.
Very seeing her in her element, and that was the first picture she had sent me.
That made you love her even more, huh?
Yeah, I know she's that kind of person, but the way she was holding that baby, her work is important.
Does she have children?
No.
Okay.
So, but the way she was holding that baby, and but I love when she puts on her gear. Normally she's
it a turn on?
She's in slacks.
Like, you love it,
and her
but
gun.
Is it a turn on?
Oh, yeah, when she has her gun on. When she has her badge and her gun, and she has her a sweater on.
Has she ever handcuffed you, Louis?
No.
Come on.
No. But when she puts on her tactical gear, her little boots, and her pants, and her vest, and that, she looks so powerful. And I've always had a thing, because I wanted to be a cop.
For women in uniform?
Yeah, especially little, because she's a tiny thing. But she gets really big, and she can handle herself. Because certain times we've been playing around, and she'll grab my thumb. Yeah, she'll grab my thumb, because she knows how to grab certain parts and make you like, hey, So she can turn it on. So I was very proud of her. And shout out to all the law enforcement who do the right thing and save people.
Yeah, it was a beautiful picture. You should get that framed for her.
I was thinking about doing that for her birthday. I don't know how. I got to figure out how to do that.
She might be listening now, so.
Oh, that's true. But I was going to figure out how to do that because her birthday's coming up. No, her birthday's not coming up. Just
I don't believe she's not ever handcuffed you to the bed.
No, I'm not in the black men don't play to get handcuffed when it can happen for real. You got to be a special kind of guy. I mean, we don't like that for real. That's just some no. So I was thinking. I remember where I was to circle back to Kobe when I heard I was actually coaching a basketball game. A youth basketball game. Wow. And we just started hearing, people started looking at the phone. And then the other coach next to me is like, oh, man, can't do that. And they stopped the game. And, of course, these were like fourth and fifth graders. And their parents went and told them. So now we got a bunch of fourth, fifth graders crying on the court. So we had to bring them together and say, hey, listen, Kobe would want you guys to play really hard and do your best and let's go. And we kind of calmed everyone down. But it was shocking. And then I thought of which one was more shocking, Michael Jackson, Prince, or Kobe?
I'm going to say Kobe because I was here at the studio and I was browsing the net and saw that it was on TMZ's website. Mm-hmm. And so I searched around because it was just shocking and hard to believe that. So right. I think the most tragic would be Kobe and Gigi. Right. Because Prince and Michael Jackson, they really lived reckless lives. They were addicted to drugs. Right. And you kind of expect that to happen at some point. Right. But this was sudden. This was, I don't know. I just think that and I think it in the fact that it was him and his daughter.
Yeah, I think that really got, yeah. And yeah, that was pretty I know a lot of people who cried when Michael and Prince, and a lot of men cried when Kobe died. So may they all rest in peace. He was definitely gone too soon. But then we have somebody supposed to be calling me.
Kente. I'm waiting.
Oh, he's at 11:30.
Yeah.
And what was so funny is I had Jeff's buddy call in today, and I was going to surprise him and let him interview him.
Man, Jeff is out being a being a celeb right now.
Yeah, he got. So what's the call-in number so I can?
It's 323-815-4204.
Dannon wants to know. I don't know why. I don't know why we need to hear from him. Then he's gonna call.
You got. We miss Dannon.
Yeah, Dannon's funny. Dannon's funny. He's a good guy. I want to like him more than I do.
What does that mean?
I know. I have this thing. I want to, certain people I want to like more, but I just.
That's cool.
I know, and he's a good guy. He's from Philly. I just think I want to like him more, and I'm just trying, but I just, maybe, I don't know, maybe once he gets his lisps together, I'll become more, I'm just kidding. That's wrong. But that's the way I've always been with LA and this, and I have the friends I grew up with, and the coaches, but I really don't have friends like that, except Jeff. I really don't have, and I don't know what that's about. I figure I feel like I'm a good friend somewhat, but I'm not just.
I left the picture out of Jeff.
Oh, please.
For the people who's just joining, here's Jeff is out today because
That's a nice picture of Jeff, not the guy. The guy hurts the picture. Jeff looks really handsome there, and you can't really tell he's cockeyed. I mean, he straightened that eye out for that picture. He did. Yeah, that's a great picture of him.
Let me just go back to him because a few other people joined the chat room. Jeff isn't here today because he's on a photo shoot for James Westbrook's new, I guess, casual wear.
Yeah, which is Russell Westbrook's brother. Yeah.
Is that his brother in the picture?
No, I don't think so. I like that picture. That's a nice sweatshirt on Jeff. I always have different slacks.
Yeah, I like how her outfit is, too.
Her outfit is cute. I love a woman in sneaks in a dress like that. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Why? It just looks fake?
Yeah, it looks very fake. It looks like...
He trying to get some.
No, it looks like he should have both hands over her shoulder. But then again, you wouldn't be able to see the outfit.
See, he has his hand like touching her ass almost. So it's like he should
trying
have to seduce her.
He should have his hand over her hand or on some. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
There's Jeff in all his
Look at it's
glory.
focused. Yeah, he focused because he's a stage guy, stage manager, so he knows how to stay focused. So good for Jeff. But I like that first one. Jeff is a handsome guy.
Yeah, so Jeff is modeling for that clothing line. I guess they're trying to reach an older demographic.
Yeah,
perhaps?
so look at Jeff. Any swap meet you go, you'll see a picture of Jeff hanging. Or no Macy's. I'm sure he'll be in. Maybe this might kick him off. He might become the model of models. Somebody see that, and then Jeff is on his way.
Well, we need that demographic.
Yes, so he might become that guy.
They want to be fly too.
Yeah, so Jeff might be that. You might see Jeff on billboards. Whoa, I better check myself. Sorry about that, Jeff. Everything I've said about you.
He might decide he don't want you on the show no more.
Yeah, he might be doing his own. Yeah. Just so, and then
I'll be doing my own podcast, please.
Yes. So
we got Kente in the that is just now coming in.
Well, he's a Christian, so he can wait. Christians are used to waiting.
I know, they're waiing for Jesus.
Yeah, they gotta wait. They believe.
Say they like we wasn't in church last week.
No, he's got a. It's so funny. His voice sounds 51.
I know. I called him. I go, were you asleep, Kente?
And he looks 12, but his voice sounds okay. Let's do this. This gentleman is an actor, comedian, producer, and director. Now I read. I'm going to wait till he comes on, but I read his net worth was $1.6 million. Then I pulled something else up and it said 400,000. So I was like, then I looked up mine, and mine said 12.6 million.
Wow.
I know. So I'm like, and I was thinking, well, if I had made it, that's probably what they say. If I had made it, I would have been 12 point. But he's from Oakland, California, and this is the third guy that's a UCLA alumni that we've interviewed. Chris Spencer, Sully is. It's amazing that these guys are all went to UCLA. He played the lead role in Showtime's critically acclaimed movie They Call Me Sir, co-starring the late great actor Michael Clark Duncan. And so he also, his first feature is coming out from his production company, Legacy Films Entertainment, called it's an urban horror flick called Billy Do. Please welcome Mr. Kente Scott. And he does a comedy. Hey, Kente, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Lewis? How you doing?
Good, man. And now that's an interesting wall behind you.
It's just a wall. It's just a wall.
Okay, but the
So it
blue
looks like 70s. Like how they
Well,
stuck
you
on
know,
the
I
wall.
live over here in the LA, and some of the places they haven't redone the inside since they built them in 1940s. It looked like Devil in a Blue Dress on the outside.
The blue is popping though. It's a nice blue.
Well, thank you.
Since we were talking about modeling, Jeff is modeling right now. Did you see those pictures?
No, Jeff Arnold is a model.
Yeah,
model
that's
now?
why he's not here today. He's modeling Russell Westbrook's clothing line. Can we show Kente some? These are some of Jeff's pictures. He's the role of the elderly guy. That's Jeff.
Okay.
And
So,
there you go.
all right.
And that's a tough
You
one.
got to do the tough feet out. You know,
Yeah,
the
they both look
perpendicular foot pose. 90-degree angle foot pose. That means I'm gangster.
Right. I just got out, and that's his blended family.
Okay, yeah, they are.
Doesn't
hella
the little boy, the dark kid, look like the kid in the movie Us?
Yeah, and the tall dude looks like the kid in Get Out. So he got everybody from Jordan Peele's movies. That's the scariest blended family ever. I'm never going to sleep in that house. I'm gonna sleep in the car, baby. I'm
that
fine.
right there looks. That's a great picture of Jeff. I think it's a great picture of Jeff. You can't.
That is.
Yeah, you can't. Even,
Look like a Benetton ad or something.
yeah. So Jeff, we were like, Jeff's gonna blow up and be on billboards, and then we're gonna all have to apologize for saying, that he wasn't as funny as us. But he is. I gotta say, I gotta stop saying that. That was part of him coming back on the show with me not to hurt. Okay, so listen. How are you? First of all,
I'm good. I can't complain. Thank you for having me on the show.
I appreciate you.
Giving me so much notice.
Yeah, I know. I called him yesterday because everyone else said no. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah, I know.
No.
He was like, "Let me roll through this."
David
here
Arnold,
we go, Kente.
yeah.
He always responds.
Yeah, you were the K's. David Arnold,
Yeah.
he's shooting his comedy special in Cleveland. So, and Tony Rock is having some surgery. So, you attended UCLA.
Went to UCLA. I actually went to UCLA with Chris and Sully. They were a couple years older than me, but they used to have when they had black people at UCLA, they had a program called Freshman Summer Program or Transfer Summer Program, where all the minority students came for like 6 weeks before school started, and really bonded, took a couple classes, but it was 6 weeks of hanging out. So I've known Chris Spencer since way back at UCLA, Sully McCullough too.
So do you guys talk about that when you get together? Is that a thing that's just between you guys? Because none of us really knew that.
I mean, it's like I think it's kind of like whatever college you went to. If you see folks from there, then you guys have that college experience. But yeah, we wouldn't be hanging out at the Regency West Theater and be like, "Hey, man, remember that time on Bruin Walk?"
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like that's what other people do. That they will, when you're sitting around or listening to a bunch of other people talk, they talk about their in mixed company. Remember that time at UCLA? Like we've never. I knew about Chris Spencer because he talked about it, and Sully because he tried to get Sinbad a computer at a discount price back on a different world.
Does UCLA discount?
Yes. So, and then when I read it, I was like, well, that's something we all should know, because whenever I interview anyone, I love to talk about their college experience, and I just think we should hear more about that, you guys.
You're right, but also when we're together, like we're coworkers, we're also friends, but we're coworkers. So when we're together, it's usually in a work setting. So when it's me, Chris, Sully, and some other not comedian, UCLA friends of ours, then we have that conversation. Or, if it's mixed company and we're out on a non-work setting, like at a bar or watching a game or something, then we'll talk about, remember that time at UCLA, Chris, when you thought you was Magic Johnson in the Woodland Center and
right, that's
and
what
was
Chris
terrible
said.
at passing the ball.
That was one of his regrets, that he didn't walk on to UCLA basketball team, because he said he used
Chris probably that's a regret he had. But UCLA's basketball team at that time had Reggie Miller, Don McClain. They had players in the league. Chris was great in the Wooden Center.
All right, fair enough. Question. Well, a lot of these would be questions. How did you get into comedy?
Well, actually, I was at UCLA. I come from a roasting, bagging family. And so every Thanksgiving, my mother would come down and we'd go over to my aunt's house, and my cousins and I would just sit around just going in on each other. And so I think it was like my senior year or somewhere around there. She was like, I'm coming to LA and I'm not leaving until you get on stage somewhere, because I'm tired of you giving away these jokes for free. And so after about a week, I was like, oh, she's really not leaving. So we went up to the Comedy Store, because that's the only place I knew that had open mics at that time. Mm-hmm. So went up to the Comedy Store, signed up for the open mic on Sundays, where, it's like a lottery. And I was like, okay, if I get picked, then I'm supposed to do it. If I don't, then I could be like, hey, I didn't get picked, so I can't do it, Mom. You got to go home. And they ended up picking me. Did 3 minutes. They laughed enough for me to feel like I could try it. So after that, I had a book that every quarter at UCLA, I'd buy a book in the bookstore that had nothing to do with school. It was just like random reading, because I'm a cool nerd. So I've been reading since I was like 4, like big novels and stuff. So I had this book by Judy Carter called The Art of Stand-Up Comedy. And back then on the back, it had her contact information. So I reached out to her, and she was doing a 6-week writing workshop. So went to her workshop, found out how to actually write jokes. After taking her workshop twice, I had 10 minutes of jokes. And my first paid gig was in Oakland at the End Zone, hosted by Joey Wells on 35th and East 14th, the hood. And the only advice he gave me was, you see these dudes in the front row? When they say, all right, partner, that's enough, wrap it up, get off the stage, because they're real true killers. So my whole goal was to get through my 10-minute set without them ushering me off stage, and I made it through.
So Joey is from Oakland.
Joey's from Oakland, went to San Jose State, and he was the resident Bay Area Oakland host at the time.
Okay. So I want to circle back to UCLA. You said, I found out, this is what I read, I'm not if it's true, but your dad wanted you to be a doctor?
Yes. Yeah, my father was one of those, you don't know what you're going to do, so I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. Because when I was little, I was like, I want to be a fireman. And he was like, that's fine. You'll be a fireman, but you'll be the only one on the truck with a doctorate. And I was like, okay. So even when I went to UCLA, I wanted to go and declare it because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And he was like, you're going to be a biology major. And I was smart enough to take the classes and pass the classes and get good enough grades in the classes. But the people that I know that are doctors to this day knew they wanted to be doctors when they walked on the UCLA's campus. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want nobody to die on the table. So right. Let me find out the doctors I could do where I can take at least one day off. I could wear my earring when I want to wear it, and nobody dies on my operating table. So, and if I'd have known about the sports medicine industry at that time, if it was booming now, booming then like it is now, I might have been more inclined to stick with it, but yeah, I couldn't. I don't deal with blood.
So maybe you could have been like a trainer, sports medicine, something like that. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, some of those sports injuries, like Paul George, he just would have had to. No, you had to fix that yourself. Give him some Tussin and tell him to walk it off, because I can't look at that.
Now, were you an athlete?
Yeah, played football and tennis.
What sport? What position in football?
Corner, defensive back. I was Lester Hayes and Deion Sanders every time I got on the field.
Okay. Now, did you, being a tennis guy, Did you enjoy the King Richard, the story of Serena and?
Yeah, I could relate to it, not on that level, because Richard Williams was like Tiger Woods' dad, like Joe Jackson, like this is what you guys are gonna do. But every Saturday, I would have to get up at 7 in the morning, and my moms would get me up, and we go over to train with my tennis coach from like 5th grade all the way through 12th grade, and you know, I realized like you have to be like Richard Williams or Joe Jackson or Tiger Woods in those elitist type sports, because one, they train every day. They little white kids have tennis courts in their backyard, so they train every day. The coaches come to their house. You don't have to go find the coach. And two, they don't want us in there. Like every time I'd play against a kid, a white kid, it'd be, yeah, show him how we do it. The parents would be saying that. So it's a lot that you have to get through. And I was like, I like it, but I don't like it enough to be dealing with all this overt racism.
So the racism was real.
Oh, yes, because they think, and my parents had their own business, so we had, nice money, but they think as soon as you show up, you're an inner city kid on some tennis teach the youth program or something like that. Like you can't actually have access to the things that they have or the places where they are at that time, just on your own merit. You have to be in some Save the Children program or something.
So you grew up upper middle class?
Yeah. Like here, Oakland, and I'm actually writing a script on it, my sister and I. Oakland in the 90s was like Atlanta is now in terms of Black business. Okay. And my parents had their own company. It was like it was 6 or 7 Black-owned companies who were in the Black Enterprise top 100 businesses every year during that time. And because Oakland was what it was, and Oakland's history, of the Black Panthers and all of that, Oakland was always on the Fed's radar. So when the Feds were monitoring the drug dealers, they started monitoring these Black businesses and were like, how are they making legitimate money? They can't be doing that. And in the mid 90s, the Feds came in and shut down all the Black businesses on charges that may or may not have had real merit to them. But in that time, if you shut down a business for a week and put it in the newspaper, then its credibility was shot. So Oakland has never been the same since then. But at that time, Oakland was the second chocolate city only to Washington, D.C.
Did that affect your parents' business?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of business was it?
They had a catering and janitorial business, but they had government contracts. So the janitorial side was all government contracts. It was a 8A program, which was created back in the late 60s, which allows them to set aside contracts for minorities, women-owned businesses. It's still going to this day. But my parents and a group of friends found out about it and basically pimped the system, but not pimped the system. They got in and did exactly what the system said to do. And then they did what the system usually does is they were like, oh, they're doing too well. Let's change the rules. So they came in, they had to file Chapter 13 or 11 or bankruptcy basically. And yeah, shut down the business. But at their height, they had 600 employees in their company. In terms of all of their contracts, 85% of them were African-American or minority employees. So, they were helping out a lot of folks, and sometimes they don't like that.
Good for you.
Especially from Oakland.
Yeah, true. Now, I know in your act, when I've heard you talk about your daughter, is that the only child you have?
Yeah, that's the only one I have.
Now, how old were you when you had your daughter?
I was a senior, so I was like 21, 22. I had my daughter.
Oh, you were senior in college?
Yeah, senior in college.
Okay.
in my 5th year, 5th and a half.
Now, how did you respond when you were told that you were going to be a father?
Well, it's crazy because at first I was, I'm like, It ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Something gonna happen. I'm too young because my whole thing was I'm not gonna be a father. I'm not gonna be a parent until I'm married. And then of course I did everything to become a parent without being married. Like you got to take steps if you're gonna be doing these things to not be a parent before you get married. So, but when when the doctor told us, because we went to the hospital because she had headache or something, and they were like, "Oh yeah, she's pregnant." And I was like, "Ooh, okay, well, I don't know what we're gonna do now."
That must have been a serious headache that you went to the hospital for just the headache?
Because she had done something silly like taking too much aspirin and had a reaction to it. And they were like, well, you can't be doing that because you're pregnant. And I look young now, so I looked 12 then. So they basically were looking like, who are these little kids coming in here playing house? Right. And so, but here, the crazy part is her father, my daughter's mother's father, is a preacher. So I was like, well, since we're going to have a kid, we got to tell everybody. So I told my parents and they were like, all right, well, what you going to do now? And I was like, take care of my child. Her parents were like, okay, when are you getting married? And I was like, never. I said, I'm going to be a good daddy. I never said I was going to be a husband.
So you didn't marry her? That's the first thing I thought when you said preacher's daughter, that you had to marry her.
Yeah, they were like, so yeah, I was like, I'm not. I'm going to be the best daddy I can be. But at that point, I realized me and her mama wasn't going to make it on the long term. So I was like, no, sir.
So you didn't have you didn't feel any pressure to marry her by her parents?
I mean, yeah, they pressured. I felt the pressure. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't succumbing to it because I was like, no, you know your daughter better than I do. And the part I know, one of us would have been up on some charges if we'd ever got married. So no, sir.
Now, no, ma'am. We're not going to make it. Most men your age would have crumbled and said, okay, and walked the walk.
Nah. Because my thing was, like I said, I signed on to be a dad from that. I didn't sign on to be a husband from that. And, we put the cart before the horse, but I wasn't going to go back and take the horse when it's nowhere near a thoroughbred. This is a nag right here. This one got a sway back. I don't want that horse.
Oh, you are so... That's your daughter's mama. Ooh.
Hey, it is. And that she is. And thank you for that part. But go be my wife.
So what's your baby girl doing now? What's her name?
My daughter's name is Tyler. She says I can't say her age anymore in public because
what is she doing? What does she do?
She does, well, actually she's following in entertainment world. So she's a video blogger. She has her own podcast called Eargasmic Music. She interviews up and coming local rappers and music artists and all that. She's gotten into being the video girl now, which I'm like, she called herself a video vixen the other day. And I was like, no, you're not. Stop it. Cut it out. We read that book. I wish I would.
Is there any subject you won't touch?
On stage?
Yeah. We know you'll touch the subject because you just dogged out your baby's mama. So we know that off. I'm talking about on stage.
Yeah. No. I don't think so. I think anything can be talked about. It's just how you talk about it. We're in the height of the cancel era of comedians, but coming up, I was Richard Pryor fan, Eddie Murphy fan, Robin Williams, George Carlin, and they talked about everything, but it's just how you talk about it. Like, I have a joke about my grandmother who's 103 years old. And when I get into it, at first people get tight because I'm like, my mother's like, you can't go to Houston if you don't have the vaccine because you don't want your grandmother to suddenly die. And I'm like, my grandmother's 103. She's not suddenly dying. She's not suddenly doing anything. She don't suddenly wake up. She don't suddenly go to sleep. And at that point, the audience always gets tight. And I'm like, hey, don't trip. I believe everybody over 94 knows exactly when they're going home to see Jesus because they've already called him and told him when I'm coming home to see you. So I do the whole act out on that and then they come back around. So I think I was always taught as the comedian, you always have to come from the point of the underdog or the victim. So as long as you're not, trashing anybody else's lifestyle or culture in your joke, then you can talk about it, because these are our experiences. But people are very sensitive now.
You do a show. You produce a show along with Dino Shorte.
Mm-hmm.
At what is it?
Faithful Central.
Faithful Central.
Faithful Central.
I was going to say
the living
Comedy
room.
Central, but Faithful
We'll
Central.
take that.
Faithful Central with Pastor Omer. He's still the pastor, right?
He's still the pastor. Still up in there.
I used to go to his church when he was at 62nd and Hoover.
Yeah.
In the beginning. So you guys do a comedy cafe there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, and you have to actually tell certain comics that make sure you don't go there.
Right. Yeah.
Has anyone ever gone there?
Two comics went. One kind of went there, the other one went there. Like it's a clean show. It's a church crowd, but I tell them it's not your typical church crowd. You can have fun with them. You can push the envelope. You can say some things. Can't do blatant sex jokes. You can't curse, of course, and you can't. And that's pretty much it. And no long-winded drug jokes. So we had one comic who was like, I have this joke. And I say, can we cuss on here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So make sure. So he said, I want to say new pussy, but I can't say pussy. So I said, no, you can't say that. So say something else. My fault was not in telling him exactly what he could say, like new chick or a new woman or something like that. So he gets on there and says, so you don't want to lose your old coochie, your for show coochie, for some mo coochie and then have no coochie. And the audience was like, oh, and I'm backstage like, oh no, why is he saying this? And so they, after the show, they were like, we get it, baby. You didn't know what to say because Faithful Central.
Actually, he was quoting the Odd Squad.
Yes.
That was a song, a rap song.
Yes. And he was saying it from his daddy's perspective, who used to be a pimp or something like that. But the church crowd, coochie, is like, what is he saying?
Right. And they did they gasped, they didn't laugh.
They always gasp. They always turn into a classroom full of third graders that heard their first bad word ever. They're like, "Woo!"
Could he have put it any other way or should he have just trashed the joke altogether?
Well, no, he could have, like I told him afterwards, you could have still done the joke, but you should have said, don't get rid of your for show chick for some mo chick and then have no chick. You can't, that's the closest you can get to that in terms of talking about woman's vagina. Right. He was like, because he was like, could I say vagina? I was like, no, you can't say vagina. You can't say penis. This is a church.
So he thought coochie. It was a lowercase c, I guess.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, I can say coochie because we said it in middle school. I was like, no.
And then the second guy, it was worse than that.
The second guy, the first time we had a white comedian on our show, he got up and he was asking me all week, can I talk about smoking weed? I was like, probably not. He was like, can I talk about watching porn? I was like, definitely not. And so he's doing his set and he's doing like 15 minutes, 12 minutes in, he's killing them. He's doing well. And he's doing this joke and I know the joke and I'm listening to the joke backstage and I'm like, okay, cool, he's doing it. And at a certain point he says, and I took the candy cane and threw it on the ground and stepped on it. And I said, ain't nobody get none of this goddamn candy cane. And it went in slow motion because I was backstage like, I know he's not saying this. And the audience was like, oh, and he was like, what'd I say? And he finished his set. Luckily, he had got enough comedy clout in the room that they didn't just turn on him. And they, he got out of it, got off stage, and backstage, he was like, I've never been to church before. So if I'd have said, got damn, would that have been fine? I said, no, first of all, you can't say damn. Second of all, you definitely can't say goddamn, because that's at the top of the can't cuss in the Christian venue cuss words list. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. The good thing about it was I went on stage after he got off and roasted him for 10 minutes about him cussing, because he was the first one to really break the cussing cherry for us, I guess. And I was like, see, this is why you can't have others come to your house. They fool around and gentrify your comedy show.
So, are you now doing just clean comedy?
No, no, I do both. Because it's crazy because I have people that'll be like, I don't want to come see you do clean. I want to come see you cuss. And then I have people that be like, I don't want to see you cuss. Let me know when your clean show is. So I'm like, well, cool. I like to do both of them.
Come to church.
And come to church. Yeah, come to church to see the clean. And come to wherever I'm at outside the church.
So what if church people show up to your show?
I've had church people show up to my show. It's funny because
where you performing at, Kente? I'm gonna come see you.
They do it. Like, I'm finally, every show, even a show did at the Improv and Monday, Faithful Central in the house. I was like, oh shit. They were like, don't worry about it. We know you're not at church right now. I do Quake's House radio show on Sirius XM, and it's no holds bar on there. It's wow. They be talking about all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the pastors from the church was like, hey, Kente, I heard you on Quake's House radio show. I was like,
you're only allowed to say Quake.
That
show
shit was funny.
Once.
That's probably what he said.
Quake
yeah.
twice.
Yeah, exactly. No, so he was like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Pastor Jordan, my bad. He was like, no, I love that shit. Keep doing it, man. I know what you're doing out there. I was like, oh, woo, okay, cool. Because even Bishop Omer has said, I was in the Marines. So as a Christian, I cuss less than I used to. And I'm like, oh, good. That's me. I cuss less than I used to. I feel like when we get to heaven, it's going to be like a little cussing section you can go cuss in, but you just can't do it around God when he walks through. They be like, hey, Jesus coming.
Man, I've seen so many religious leaders like like off the record talking mad shit, like cussing worse than a sailor. But I wanted to say this. Someone in the chat room said Cosby told Lou to replace the word coochie with pudding.
These people in the chat room are so funny.
Mr. Chat room.
I had some things I wanted to ask you. I hadn't mentioned this, but I was thinking hilarious. The other day about things that our parents told us we couldn't do, and then back to your parents. Some things that they told you, well, you had to declare that, but growing up, you don't slouch, sit up.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you remember your parents telling you?
Two things I remember my parents telling me that sounded like family deal breakers. One was, if you ever go to jail, I'm leaving you there. So I was like, okay, I feel like that might actually happen. The second one was, my mama said, if you ever bring a white girl home, don't come home. And I was like, well, that's like an oxymoron. How can I come home with a white girl and then don't come home? I was like, oh, you trying to say you're going to kick me out the house. So those two stuck in my head forever. Like, okay, I'm not going to jail and I'm probably not going to date white women because Kente and Amy don't go together in this house.
Right. Their mind said, if she can't use our comb, don't bring her home. That's what we were
pretty much. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there certain gadgets that you are attached to way too much, like a coffee maker
outside of your cell phone?
Yeah, outside of your cell phone.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say everybody's attached to that thing now. My daughter, I've been a video game head since I was 5, and my daughter fooled around and bought me PlayStation 5 for Father's Day last June, and I'm way too attached to that thing. I'm like, who's online to play Madden? Who want to see me in 2K? Yeah, so
now you play other people that's somewhere else.
Play other people because it's all online now. So you'll be talking trash and you'll hear somebody's mama like, "Hey, he's 80 years old. Stop talking to him like he's the grown man." But, oh, my bad.
So I didn't know that was a real thing. Have you ever played against someone that you didn't know it was someone that you know, and then you say, "Oh, I know you"?
Yes, both of those. Because you got your handles, and most of the people don't put like they Lewis Dix at 25 on the handle. They put like some creative ass name or something, and a lot of people don't know that Contagious is me. So I was actually playing Madden against the guy that my daughter was dating at the time. And I think he kind of looked me up on purpose to play me because he challenged me. And then I beat him. And I was like, yeah, I just beat this fool. And he was talking hella trash. And my daughter was like, that's my boyfriend, Daddy. I was like, hey, man, I ain't even met him in person. You can't come in here trying to think this is a virtual meeting.
That is hilarious. That's Some things I want to ask you that you either do well or you don't do well. Can you spell?
Oh, I'm fifth grade spelling bee champion. I spell everything.
So
Poet I used to have word of the day with Kente.
Yep.
Okay.
You sure did.
Can you cook?
I can cook. Yes, my mother is a caterer. And before I left for UCLA, she was like, I'm gonna teach you how to cook at least 5 things because I don't want you down there eating ramen and waiting for some girl to cook you some food. So I'm gonna teach you how to cook some things. So yes, I know how to cook very well.
You golf?
Golf, yes. Took that up. Well, took it up years ago because I got invited to a few celebrity events and thought I could play just because I was an athlete, and golf is non-athletic. So I had to forget everything I knew about that. Took some lessons from an old black man over at Westchester Golf Course over by LAX. And during the pandemic, that was like one of the only things we could do. So I'm low-key addicted to it. I get out like once a week with it.
Good. Now, you play an instrument?
No, I stopped fooling around and lying to myself about being a jazz saxophonist back in 8th grade when I could only play the first 3 bars of Silent Night.
Can you climb a fence or a tree?
Yes, can climb a fence. I don't know if I can do the old school flip over at the top, but I can still climb a fence.
Oh, really?
Okay. I don't know the last time I've ever had the inkling to try and climb a tree though, so I'm gonna go with no.
Can you swim?
Yes, can swim. My sister is a registered lifeguard. I'm good enough to be intermediate because I couldn't tread water for 5 minutes without grabbing the side, but I can swim. I can save my life in the water.
What's been your most expensive purchase?
Oh, I guess this damn C300 I bought last year. I'm trying to put it, thinking I was it's going to be a rental car. I'm going to rent it out every month. Going to pay the note. Yeah, no, it's great in the summer.
Now, but, C300, that's a Mercedes?
Mercedes, yes.
Okay. All right. What do you deal with scary movies?
Love scary movies. I love scary movies. I'm a horror movie fan. Like the first scary movie I saw, my aunt was like, I'm gonna let you watch Exorcist, and if you have nightmares, then you can't watch no more scary movies. So that's been all of them since Exorcist, Friday the 13th through Friday the 13th Part 12. All of them. Love horror movies.
Are you scared of heights?
No, not scared of heights.
Can you fight?
I used to. I don't know the last time I've been in a fight.
Yeah, so growing up, you could fight.
Yeah, I mean, like since I've been 30, I haven't been in a fight, so I don't know if I could still fight. But I feel like in my head, I could fight for a good 15 seconds. After that, I might have to be like, "All right, you win. I quit. I'm out."
Now, this is a question I'm not allowed to ask, but for some reason, I like the question, but they always tease me that I shouldn't be asking guys this question. So Poetess is going to put it to you.
Oh, God.
I was about to say, pause. What are we doing here?
No.
What's your favorite position?
Oh, God. Louis. He always asks, and this is so, we told him not to, but are you a good kisser?
The girls think you're a good kisser.
Yeah, Louis. That's probably, you should probably just scratch that one up. Wherever the page is, just tear the bottom of that off and throw it away. Yes, I'm every woman that I've dated has said I'm a good kisser, so I'm gonna go with the Yelp reviews.
The Yelp reviews. and I said last week, the last time Louis asked a guy that question, that that's up to the person that's receiving the kiss.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's true.
It's like, are you a good gift giver? Do they love the gifts you're giving?
Right.
Because you think they're great. Do they be like, no, I don't want another spatula. So right. Yes.
Yeah, if a guy can't kiss, I won't kiss him anymore.
I feel like that's a deal breaker. I feel like that's the starter. That's the baseline. You got to at least know how to be
Louis,
a good kisser.
Are you a good kisser?
Yeah, maybe that's the way I should ask the question. Have you ever kissed a girl that wasn't a good kisser, and how do you feel about that?
Oh, yes.
Maybe
yes.
I should. That's how I should ask the question. All right.
Because
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the last.
I have.
Okay, so here's the last question.
Yeah, because we have a call.
Okay.
Once we
What is something you wish you had experienced or wish you had not experienced in your life?
I wish I had experienced, and it's still on my bucket list, is going to Ghana in Africa, because that's where my name Kente comes from. And I feel like if I go there, they'll parade me through the streets like I'm the king of Zamunda. That's how I got it in my mind. So I was going to go, but the pandemic came. So the last 3 years, that's been on my bucket list.
Good for you. Good for you. Hey, Kente, I want to thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate it. It's fun. Learned a lot about you. And stay safe. And I hope Tyler continues to make you proud of him.
Good to see you.
Appreciate that.
Good to
see y'all.
Kente.
Appreciate y'all having me anytime. Lewis, just call me 48 hours next time. And I'll be even more prepared. I have the background and everything.
Thank you. All right, peace.
All right. See
I
you later,
appreciate
Kente.
It was nice. It was a good interview. You smart guy. All right, we have a caller. What's up, caller? Who is it?
What's going on, Louis Dick?
I figured, it's the man on the road. Okay. What's up, Danny?
It's all good, brother. How are you?
Good. We were trying to figure out, because I told POTUS, I said, he says he's on a 4-hour drive. So I was trying to figure out, well, where is he going that's 4 hours from here? Is it Vegas?
Well, actually, I'm going to Sam Hills Country Club outside of San Diego.
Okay.
So, but I have to, if I would take the 15 south and cut across, it would be 3.5 hours. But because I have issues driving through the mountains, I got to take the 10 going east and come down. So I added like another half an hour to my trip.
No, I'm with you. That's a Philly thing. We don't like going mountains and all that.
Yeah, we ain't. I ain't gonna. So I'm going down here. It's a business pleasure trip. I got a guy who invited me down to play golf, and he's one of those dudes, and so he's taking a liking to me, and I think we've talked about this before. Sometimes you got to change your surroundings. So, I'm going down there to really network and to talk a little bit business. Okay,
now this is interesting. Real quick, you say, so you met this guy. Where did you meet this guy?
Oh, I've known the guy for a minute. He's a LA guy.
Okay.
But, so what he did was we had went out to dinner because he's looking at one of my scripts, and then we were talking, and he's a big golfer. He's like, yo man, I did that, and I said okay, so he's one of those white guys from New York, so he's a fast talker and aggressive talker. So he goes, look man, let's let's go golfing here. He's one of those guys like, don't ask me to borrow no money, but I'll pay for everything. I'm like, okay, I'm good with that.
So now, are you going to spend the night down there?
Oh, we'll do 2 days down here.
So
go ahead.
Are you staying with him or at a hotel?
Well, we rented out he rented out like a big house because there's gonna be another guy there. There's 3, so it's total like 4 guys.
Now
so it's like his business partner.
Now you're the only black guy?
I'm the only African American.
Okay, all right. This seems now. I know you can handle yourself. You can fight, but it's
I know where you're going with it. That's why I said I'm the only African American. So I know your language, Louis.
No. I'm just saying it's I like. All right, we're always taught you roll with one of your boys.
Right.
Now you're not apprehensive or you feel comfortable. What makes you feel comfortable to make this ride by yourself with these people the 2 people you don't know, right?
No, that's wrong. I've known this guy for probably over 10 years.
What, this one guy or all 3 of them?
No, the one guy, the guy that's the head dude, the lead dude.
Okay, so you've known him you know his family and all that.
Yeah, he's out in the valley. Yeah, I know him. I mean, if it's like if you said, Dan, to meet me somewhere, I would feel the same about you, whether you were white or black, because I know you.
Well, I don't appreciate that you feel more comfortable, just as comfortable with him as you do me. That's kind of cold, but all right, I'm not mad.
Well, I'm changing my surroundings, so I got to trust the white boys as much as I can trust an African American.
No, well, I mean that's your Ohio State roots. I'm not mad at you. So that's
cool.
You got both. You got Philly, Ohio State, so you can read both rooms. So I can see that. I can see that. But now is there going to be? You've known him for 10 years. Now, is it in the space that you guys are going to be staying at? Is it a certain thing, like, because there's certain things that we do as African Americans, like, they don't use washcloths. You're going to use a washcloth. I mean.
What?
No, well, like.
Yeah. Thank you, Bonus. I don't know. I use washcloths.
I don't know where he's going with this.
No, what I meant is like, Well,
Yeah.
what I meant was like, okay, if it's not his house, but if your house, most people will give you a towel,
Well,
a
it's
face
an
towel, washcloth.
Airbnb, right?
Right, it's Airbnb.
So there's towels there.
There's towels there.
Yeah, thank you, POTUS. Secondly, it's a big house. You know, this dude is a money dude.
Danny said it's a big house. That's enough.
So
man.
he's just trying to let you know
Okay.
he's not sleeping with dudes.
No, I know he's
He's
not
like,
sleeping
Yeah,
with dudes.
I guess,
No,
you know.
no.
I mean, why Lewis would think one of his homeboys would go out like that?
No,
but
no,
was
I did not
down.
meant. I
and
knew.
why would you
No.
ask about a washcloth?
Well,
of all
because-
things?
Thank you, POTUS.
Well, in my
Thank
mind,
you so much.
no, in my mind, I forgot that it was an Airbnb and not his house because I know that's sometimes when you stay at someone's house who doesn't know, they will give you a towel and you're like, "Where's the face cloth?" And they're like, "Oh, you want a face cloth?"
What kind of?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So
Right.
listen, how'd your audition go?
The audition hasn't happened yet. I have to stop in Palm Springs at a friend's house and do the audition. It's at 2:15, and then continue to go down to the trip. So I'm leaving early so I can get to my friend's place, stay there and do the audition, and then I'm leaving from there.
Okay. Well, you're.
Which was one reason why I couldn't be in studio, because by the time I'd have left the studio, it'd have been 1 o'clock. Go back to the valley and do it. I wouldn't have hit the road to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then that's I'd have been in all kind of traffic.
Well, I definitely think more of us should get outside of our comfort zone, like you said, and experience different things with different kind of people and friends. So I definitely respect that. But that's you've always been that way. I mean, because of
Yeah.
that's part of your appeal. Well, be careful, and hopefully we'll see you next week. We have Tony Rock next week, and I'm sure you know him.
T-Rock, that's my man.
And you'll come through. Be careful, and I will lose the washcloth question. I apologize for that.
No, well, Louis, it's okay, because being a personality host, you have to ask those questions to, I guess the people to pay attention a little bit more. Like, what is he going to say? So I understand, but I'm your boy. You know me too long. You didn't even have to ask those kind of questions to me, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But POTUS, if you're still there, what I have done also, which I will share with you now since you brought it up, was anytime I travel, I bring my own towel and washcloth and soap. So I have that in my bag.
Louis brings his own pillow,
Yes.
or he'll
Oh,
steal
you know
it,
what's funny?
he'll steal it from the hotel that we stayed. They used to do. He was notorious for that when we were on tour with Fox.
Right. Well, you want to know something that was really what's funny is that I have a blanket and a pillow, even though I know we're staying at a house, but because you just never know what they have there. When I go to the Airbnbs in Palm Springs, pillows and especially those houses, because we stay in some big houses down there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So those rooms, each room has their own. If you've been to those kind of places, they have their own set of pillows, own set of blankets and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Definitely. That they're supposed to have that stuff, but I
Yes.
feel you. When I go to some hotels, I definitely bring my own blanket and sleep on top of the bed. It's just sort of like a habit, because really it's the bedspreads that they don't
Yes.
change.
What-
They
right,
change
what I
the
do
sheets.
is- Yes.
They might not.
But one thing, go ahead.
No,
They may not change.
They may not change the top blanket.
Right. What I do is, when I travel with a can of Lysol. So when I go to hotels, I've always sprayed the hotels down. And I got that. I was dating this girl who was a airline stewardess, and she was the one that explained that to me. That's what they do. So back in the day when I was messing with this girl, she told me that. So I always travel with a can of Lysol and spray stuff down. But I'm assuming this resort, I don't know if you ever heard of Sam's Hill, but look it up. It's top dollar.
Well, enjoy yourself, man. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. Thanks for the call.
All right, Big Lou, always. Appreciate you, POTUS.
All right.
Guys.
Take care.
Bigo, that's for the people in the chat room.
Text Louis the address, so if there's any funny business, he'll know where to find.
Yeah, well, Louis, I'm gonna have a code on my phone. So if you get a text that says 431, then I need help.
All right, you got it. You got it.
Okay.
All right.
911. Don't answer that. Just the 431.
You got it. And all right, D. Later. And you know what's gonna happen, right, Poetess?
What?
I'm gonna get a text from him saying 431, and I'll be like, "What does that mean?" And then I'm gonna go back to sleep. Like, what? 413? Is that Boston? So hey, really appreciate Kente and Dannon Green calling in, and he was calling in because he was on the road. He was lonely, But that was weird. I see. Again, I'm weird like that. I've never stayed at an Airbnb.
Oh no, they're just like all the Airbnbs I've had. Everything's there. The dishes, pots, pans, anything you need that you would have at home. Yeah.
I've never, but good for him. He's got some good friends like that and rich friends. And in a minute or so, we have another caller coming in. And here's shout out to Jeff. Jeff just told me that we had a full house last night at the Regency West.
I gotta go by there. I just saw that Mad Marv post a little bit of his stand-up.
Yeah, he hosted
night.
last. I'm hosting the 4th next week, and Jeff said we had a full house, and then Jeff tried to make me feel good.
Oh, that's my birthday weekend, so I may stop through and.
Yeah, Jeff tried to make me feel good. He said we had a full house last night. A lot of customers were asking for you.
Right.
They were asking for the model. Wait till they see your work. But that was nice, and I was gonna go, but I got home, and I had Code 3 has been trying to cook. Reading these recipes.
When you say trying to cook, what does that mean?
She's getting better at something she's working on, cooking meals and trying new dishes. And she made some spaghetti, and it was really good once I added ketchup. But so I just didn't feel like. Normally I would have rushed out, but I just felt like chilling, and. Because now I'm at a point now when my brain and body says rest, I do it. And I think everyone should take heed of that. That if your mind, your brain, and your body says, it'll tell you, just chill and rest, do it. Unless you're getting paid.
I was surprised that your situation was as serious as it was.
Yeah, and it's funny because now my daughter, who I had to call her, keeps calling me. Asking me, how's your stomach, da-da-da, when's your surgery, da-da-da. And so I guess, that can make your kids. Oh, what I was, I had thinking about, I'm sitting down outside at the school, and I'm looking at this trash can. And I'm like, that was a simple invention. Somebody invented that, and they're getting paid. A trash can. So I started thinking about that, the simple things that, like trash cans, a cup, just simple inventions. And then I started thinking about real inventions, like the electricity, Ben Franklin. Then I started thinking about the airplane, the Wright brothers. And, of course, all these, once you start looking up all these inventions, you start looking at how many African Americans have created all this important stuff, the traffic light.
A lot of it was created out of necessity, like, Yeah, in
1923, the traffic light. Garrett Morgan.
African American invented the refrigerator.
Right. The guy, the refrigerated truck, Frederick McKinley Jones in 1940. And the home security system was co-created by Mary Van Britten in 1966. Like, wow. And the automatic elevator doors by Alexander Mile in 1887. That is crazy. An electric microphone, which we're using now, was by James E. West in 1964. And
you know what? My dad invented, my dad was an electronic genius. And we could be millionaires now, but he did not do the proper steps. But my dad actually invented wireless headphones back in the 70s and 80s.
Wow.
Yep. So
wow,
that was something. And he had them. He had a pair of wireless headphones that he invented, and he just never pursued the patent. But anyway, let's get into some of this right quick before your guy comes.
Lord. POTUS report. I'm sorry, I forgot. I didn't know that was a rundown, but okay. You and Jeff. That's funny.
Okay, so this story I came across on the thegrio.com, shout out, that this guy was released from prison after 20 years because his twin brother confessed to the crime that he was in prison for.
Wow.
So he did I think 10 years, and then his brother wrote him a letter in jail and said, hey, don't hate me, but
Too late.
I'm the actual one that committed the crime. And so when the guy went to confess to the crime, they didn't believe him because he was already in jail serving 99 years. So they felt like he was trying to get his brother out.
Right.
But then so many years later, they finally let the brother out. And so here's a picture of the twins. And
Now, let me try to figure out which one. Which one was the one that was
the
wrongly
one
convicted?
that has his face slightly slanted down.
Right. He's the one that was wrongly convicted.
That's what I'm thinking. No, I'm thinking he's the one who lied.
Okay. Yeah, and the other one with his head up looks more innocent. Okay. Yeah, the other one, yeah. Okay, now which one is it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. They're both in jail gear, prison gear.
That's cold, man. That's cold.
Would you forgive your brother for doing something like that? Or you think of your closest person. Would you forgive them for, I don't know.
Not if he had me in jail for 10 years, 20 plus years, and knowing I didn't do it. No, it'd be hard. It'd be hard. I mean, okay, I would realize I love him, but I definitely wouldn't be writing him or going to see him. That's some serious pain. That's some serious hurt. That's some serious betrayal.
So the brother that did the crime, he was saying that, well, basically they were both drug dealers, doing street stuff. And sometimes they would act as each other. He would go around saying he was his brother, and his brother would do the same
Oh, so he was
thing.
about that life too.
Yeah, they both were.
Okay, then if I was never about that life, then I would be more upset. But if I was about that life, then hey, that's fair game. I'm about that life. That's.
And hey, you could easily be identified. Y'all look alike.
Right.
So.
And I would just be upset that he didn't have enough intelligence to say we both did it, so we would have reasonable doubt. when it first happened.
Right.
You would think that having you watch Law and Order, come tell him you did it, and I'll say I did it, and I say I didn't do it, then we got reasonable doubt.
Well, and you know what? They probably have the same DNA because they're identical twins.
Yeah, I saw something like a Law and Order. They have DNA, but it's something that. Well,
I think
that's TV,
identical twins have
I'm
the
assuming
same
that's
DNA.
why it's identical. I'm assuming, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this next story is Cardi B won I heard it was 1.25 and then 3.8 with some $1 million against blogger Tasha K.
I've never heard of Tasha K. I saw a clip of her, and she's successful.
Yeah, well,
she has a common look.
Of one of I'm gonna say it, my best friend, and not Sheena, is a big fan of Tasha K. He put me up on Tasha K. And so I saw the lawsuit and I said that had to hurt. I mean, she may be making money, but that 1.5 or 3.8 million dollars had to hurt her pockets.
Right. It hurt. No matter how much money you guys gonna hurt your pockets.
Yeah. So apparently she was going around saying that Cardi B used cocaine, has herpes, and engaged in prostitution. And so
now or back in the day?
Back in the day, but I guess this has been going on a few years, but they've been back and forth at each other. So it's just not like Tasha K was going after Cardi B. They were kind of going after each other, but this is a case of big bank take little bank.
Right.
So, so Cardi B, I heard or I read that she actually had to go get a VD test to prove that she doesn't have herpes to win this case against Tasha K. Wow. So Tasha K, I didn't watch all the video because I felt, but someone kind of gave me like a perspective on the situation that she lost because Cardi B has the big machine behind her, and the conspiracy is you got to keep people like Cardi B and people delivering the messages and the imagery that she does to keep people stupid or, you know, be that influence. So, but my thing was, well, Tasha K has a lot of nerve pointing a finger at Cardi B. Look what she does for a living. She talks about people badly, and she's got sponsors. She's getting paid. What's the problem?
No, why would Jeff Arnold call me knowing we're on the air?
Because he wants to know if you showed his pictures or not.
I'm going to tell him to call the station. Because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Tell him to call in the studio. You can't talk to him right now. Oh, so I'm bringing up some points that Seymour's in the chat room brought up. Is that, okay, so Tasha K is appealing the court, the case. And Cardi B, much like Bill Cosby, bragged about doing that kind of shit back in the day. Like I'll wait.
No, go ahead. I was going to send him. Yeah, I remember.
She bragged about robbing tricks and
yes, I remember
shit
that.
like that. So she had some good attorneys because it's hard to win a cyberbullying case. Like if someone's bullying you on YouTube, you actually have to get a court order because YouTube will not take it down otherwise.
Well, don't you feel that the girl Tasha, it was helping her more than it was helping Cardi B? Since Cardi B has more followers and more is a bigger entertainer. She was going after
I mean that's what Tasha K does though. That's how she makes her money.
Like does she make her money like the other guy who did that?
Who?
One that I can't say his name.
Vlad?
No, because I don't want. Well, he's one guy. Now, is he really big? Because I see a lot of people do interviews with him.
A couple million views. Yeah.
I was thinking about the other guy who I got into it with at the condo.
Oh, B. Scott.
Yeah.
No, you know what? B. Scott is. I don't think he's messy like that. Okay. I don't think he's messy like. Tasha K is more like a young Wendy Williams.
Okay. Well, she's trying to make her. Well, good for Cardi B. For her to take the test and declare her innocence, and but that's the new thing. The new thing is messy. You know, I'm not going to say anything against Cardi B because I don't have 1.5 million. I mean, you know, Cardi B is. But I remember reading that stuff about her saying she allegedly drugged people and all that stuff.
Yeah. So.
But that's why I just stay on. That's why I stay on MySpace because I don't have to worry about that.
MySpace.
No, I'm just kidding.
Still
I'm just kidding. No.
Or
Facebook. Only best thing about Facebook is you know when it's somebody's birthday.
Okay, so Chris Brown, this just came over the wire this morning or last night, is being sued for allegedly drugging and raping a woman on Diddy's yacht.
Yeah.
Or a yacht docked at Diddy's home in Miami, Florida. Per the complaint, a professional choreographer, she's a dancer, choreographer, model, music artist, identifying as Jane Doe, and an unidentified friend were invited to the yacht on December 30th by another male friend who called the girl while she was visiting in Miami. Come on over. We having a party on the yacht. Who's not going to go to that, I guess. It claims that while on the call, Brown grabbed the phone and told her he had heard about her music and urged her to come on over to Diddy's house as soon as possible. She went to the yacht, and according to the suit, Brown offered her a drink in the kitchen, giving her a cup containing a mixed drink. They then discussed her music career, and Brown offered her some tips about starting a career in the music industry. And Brown allegedly filled her cup for a second time, for which afterwards she felt disoriented and physically unstable.
Wow.
And she said she started to fall in and fall out of sleep. And the complaint explains, and then I'm wondering why this is not a criminal thing. Why is she suing him and not pressing?
Well, I mean, they say
criminal charges.
Say it's harder to prove criminal as opposed to civil, right? It's a lower threshold.
But I think if she wins the criminal, she'll probably get guaranteed almost to win the civil suit.
I mean, I feel so afraid for these young people and just the positions that they find themselves in. Not that they get themselves in, that they find themselves in. And I'm not saying anything about her getting herself in that position, any of her fault, but just it's. I mean, again, like I was just telling Dannon, like we always rode with a road dog, you know.
I mean, it was easy to fall into that trap, you know. She's visiting Miami. She's an aspiring artist.
Was she by herself?
No, she was with a friend.
And don't you do everything together? Where you going, girl? I mean.
I definitely, for one, would not trust Chris Brown.
Duh, that's what I'm saying. Or any of those guys. I mean, I'm sure that's a whole nother level that I know nothing about. But it's you have to take someone with you when you go into those kind of events. Someone with you, more so. I understand you want to go with your girlfriend, but you want to go with the male that can protect you too. I mean, I'm sorry, females can protect you too. So I don't be chauvinistic, but I am. So, I mean, I don't know. It's sad. These young boys need to. Well, it's not just young boys; it's old heads too. It's not just young boys; it's old heads too. Anything else?
Yes, old heads too.
Yeah, I corrected myself. It's old heads.
Sounds familiar.
Hilarious.
Wait a minute. I want to finish this up real quick because I'm trying to figure out where this went bad. I guess her falling in and out of sleep, but they said the suit claims she was then led down a corridor into a bedroom where Brown closed the door and prevented her attempts to leave. According to the complaint, he then undressed and raped her.
Okay. Brown
ejaculated inside of her and announcing he was done.
Well, there's the evidence.
The next day, Brown demanded Doe take the emergency Plan B pill, the suit alleges.
Well, she should have went right to the hospital and had a rape kit done, right?
Exactly. So maybe she did. I mean, there's more details. I read more while you intro your next guest.
He's in Zoom?
No, he called on the phone. He said you text him and told him.
Because he said he couldn't.
All right. Well, he's on the line.
Well, this gentleman is interesting guy. I think he's one of Jeff's best friends because they seem to always get along. I don't know where he's born. Because I try to find out. But he's an actor, writer, producer, stand-up comedian. He has been on tour with some of the biggest names, Cat Williams, David Arnold, Faison Love. And I'm excited. And he's one of the ones in our industry who can really fight. Shalon. What's up, Shalon?
What's up, man?
How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I could do Zoom. I just need a link to join your meeting.
I sent you the link. Did you not see the link?
No, you sent me it wasn't an actual link that I got. It was It was a passcode and the link.
Yeah, the
usually via
Zoom. I
email.
gave you a Zoom ID meeting. It's a Zoom meeting ID. You see
and
that?
the password.
And then the password.
Let me see.
I told y'all he was a boxer, so he might have got hit a couple.
I'll try to
you're
send
right.
you.
You got it?
I'm on Zoom, but I need to.
You put in those numbers. The
Okay,
first
hold on.
set of numbers,
Yeah,
and then
it's 11 numbers. The first set of numbers 11,
and then the password.
which is 4.
And while he's doing that, let me just finish the story right quick, because I just read that Brown has faced numerous charges of violence, especially towards women in the past. Most famously, of course, we heard about Rihanna. And then he was dating Karrueche, and she got a restraining order placed on him. So he just really has a bad history of this kind of behavior. And then he also faced a rape allegation in Paris in 2019. So, and then, which last June, allegedly he struck a woman during an argument, but no charges were filed due to insufficient evidence. Yeah, he's gonna be next.
He's not a nice guy. He's not a nice guy. You women need to move past him. When you see him, just I like
run.
the music. Yeah, just
Yeah.
I mean, he's what's that whole saying? That don't when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Believe them. But and we'll see if Shalon is. How's Sheena doing? I saw her.
She's in the back here.
I saw her. With her red hat, and she said she's going to give me something to take with me. And did you tell her we apologize for not trying her?
I think she was listening to the show at that time.
Oh, well, she didn't call in and say apology accepted. So Seymour's in the chat room. I hear her talking back there.
Seymour is in the chat room.
Seymour would check Chris Brown. Seymour, she'll
Seymour
check.
probably whoop his ass.
Yeah, Seymour is serious, and then pray for him.
Someone in the chat room says she does, or he. I'm not sure what person gender this person is, but they say, "I'm sorry, I don't believe her story." For you know what, I'm always skeptical with these kind of stories, but something in me says there's a possibility that this is true.
And again, like people say, those two were in the room. You know what's on my mind right now is trying to figure out if it's a male or female that said that.
I'm thinking female only because I don't know.
I just don't think. Does it carry more weight if it's a female?
No, I don't think so, because there's a lot of females that are still rooting for R. Kelly. I see a lot of women that doesn't make a difference to them.
Wow.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a female who made that comment.
Well.
Yeah,
okay.
so someone else, OG Sleepy Loke, says some people consider it clout chasing.
Well, there's a lot of things going on in these young people's world that we just don't identify with. And just like I'm sure there's a lot of things in the young people's world that they don't identify with.
I don't think clout chasing is something new. I think people have always tried to get in with celebrities and be around celebrities, but now you got the internet, so they can just because you take a selfie with a celebrity, you can play that off as that's your buddy.
Especially when that celebrity dies. That's when you see the pictures up. That me and such and such.
Okay, so she's a female, the person that made the comment.
Now the next question is, how old is she?
I don't know if she's going to give up all that information.
No, I'm just saying, is she over?
The question
under
is
40,
why.
Over 40?
I'm going to take a stab at pronouncing your name, Cassinia. Why do you not believe the female in this situation?
That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good to see how she answers. I wish people would call more and talk so we can hear the tone and everything. It's just so hard to read things.
Yeah, if you guys want to call in on any of the topics that we discussed so far this morning, you can hit us up at 323-815-4204. She says she's 43.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd love to hear her. I'd love to talk with her. Is Shalon in?
I don't know. He's still on the phone, I think. You're not on Zoom yet? How old is this guy?
He's now. This is the thing about Shalon. He's as handsome. Him and Jeff are both like good-looking guys.
Let me Google this.
Yeah, Google
person.
Him. Yeah, Chalant the comedian, and you'll see all his little handsome pictures and stuff.
Is he cute, Lewis?
I don't know. I don't know if he's cute. I think you can still say a guy is handsome. He's not my type. How about that?
He's not your type.
How about that?
What's your type?
But Shalon is, I know he can fight. I know that because he trains people. And do you see him?
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, he's got a hair thing going on too.
Yeah, he's been around a long time.
Yeah, so he should know how to. Hopefully, somebody younger than him can help him with the Zoom, but we can just talk to him while he's on the phone. Can he? I don't know if he can talk on the phone and fix the Zoom.
I'm working on it, man.
Okay.
So
where were you
responding to the chat room? OG Sleepy, like, no, I wasn't saying that you said it was new or not. I was letting Lewis know that the term clout chasing, or maybe clout chasing is a new term, but it's not a new act.
Got it. Shalon, where were you born?
Washington, D.C.
Oh, you're a D.C. guy. So you were back there with Tony Woods and all of them.
Tony Martin, Tommy Davidson, Dave Chappelle.
Oh, was Mark Howard in that group?
Mark Howard. Yeah, Mark is from. I believe Mark is from D.C. Who else? Teddy Carpenter, Virginia. D.C., Maryland, Virginia. D.C. ain't but 5 miles wide, so Maryland, Virginia is close. So we all kind of we'll be in the same circles.
Teddy Carpenter got hot for a minute because everybody thought he was going to get that vibe, and then Chris Spencer snatched it. They thought he was. Now, you have any children?
I found this pic
yes, I
on,
do. I got a
on the
daughter.
internet.
Oh, you got a yeah. That's him. That's Shalon.
That's a young picture, right? Or is this a new picture?
No, that's a young picture, but he's still in shape. Like, he's a little chunkier, but that was his look. You see how him and Jeff could look. They could be models. He could be modeling the clothes that Jeff has.
Let's find a recent picture.
He's because I was gonna. How were you? Yeah. See, so he aged well.
Yeah.
So he has better hair than Jeff.
Better teeth.
Yeah, he's good teeth. He doesn't have. His lips are kind of thin. So we'll find out if he's can kiss or not, I guess.
Oh my
God. But I was wondering, did you ever fight professionally?
Oh my God.
Guess he can't.
He's still trying to. He can't walk and chew gum.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I'm only kidding. I don't.
He's got good teeth, so I guess you don't chew much gum.
That's the call in.
So he's talking. It's nothing funnier than someone who's trying to do something and they're talking to someone else as they're struggling to do it. Did you hear that? Or he's talking to himself.
Oh my God! I'm gonna find the link. Text it to you, Lewis.
I texted to him the same
You
link.
text him the number, not the actual.
No,
link.
I texted him the link that you.
Oh, you sent him the link.
No, you didn't. No, you text me a number. I didn't get a link.
No, Shalon, I'm looking right at it. It says, "Hey Shalon, thanks for agreeing to do the show. Does 11:15 work for you? Or 12:15? Zoom meeting ID."
That's not a link.
I'm about to send Lewis the link.
All right, so now
that's not a link.
You see, look, you hear him all his voice now. He know it's not a link. now he got all bass in his voice. That's not a link, Lewis. Get it together.
Well, y'all can go ahead and start the interview.
That's what I
while
send
I'm doing
everyone
it.
else. So I don't know. I mean, I know you're used to. Hey, let me ask you a question, Shalon. It seems that. What is it about you, as well as your act, that makes some of the top comics feel so comfortable having you open up for them when they tour? You know, like I said, you know, like Cat Williams, David Arnold, Faison Love. What is it?
I don't. To be honest with you, Lewis, I guess I know how to tone it down.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is, since you brought that up, it is a fine line, to be honest with you.
Okay.
When you go out with people, you know, I always tell people when you go out and you don't necessarily want to do too well.
Okay. So you more or less say you stay in your lane and you allow them to have the show that they want to have.
Yeah, I've had comedians tell me what topics not to do when I open up for them.
Really?
Like briefly also.
So you mean they tell you don't talk about this subject?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had that. I've had that too.
And then you just go ahead and go along with it, and you just take that out of your act. So you have enough material where you can do that. Not everyone does that.
Yeah. It does make the set a little harder because I find myself up there. You know, you don't want to look like you're thinking. I've from watching people like you and others. You know, if you're comfortable, the audience is comfortable. If you're not comfortable, they sense that, and it can be a little harder show. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. I'm telling you stuff you already know, but you asked me. You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah. I just sent you the join our HD video meeting, whatever. I just sent you that, so I don't know if that's going to work.
Did you email it to me or text it to me?
I texted it to you.
Okay. Now let me see.
You know, when I was looking at some of your stuff on Facebook, one of the quotes you have is "Don't be a victim, be victorious. Let's train." What does that mean, and who is it meant for?
Well, it's two ways. It's two ways that you can approach. It's two ways that you can kind of approach what I do. I always tell people when it comes to protecting yourself, you can either be proactive or you can be reactive. Proactive is before you get your ass whipped. Reactive is after you get your ass whipped. Pretty
sense.
much.
That makes sense.
So, you know what I mean? So, basically, after the first time, you know, you're no longer a victim, you're a participant. So after you come across an unfortunate incident, if you don't do anything about it to arm yourself, then the next time, you know, you're not a victim because it's already happened, you know?
Yeah. Now, what is some of the...
Wait, let me ask you, Shalon, do you have to hang up the phone in order to get on the Zoom?
I'm doing it. Well, it says I'm trying to join. It says join meeting now. I'm trying to go in. Now it's asking me for the meeting ID and stuff like that. Okay, it's telling me the meeting ID. I can't see it. Can you give me the numbers?
Hang on. It is. I'm sorry.
Okay,
hang on
I have
a second. Yeah, go ahead and give it to him. It's okay.
Oh darn! Now I'm having.
It's 962 something.
It's 962 572 5675.
And the password is 7608.
Okay. Password 7608.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Boom.
You know, that's the black person's go-to word when things work. Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom.
Okay, I'm waiting for you to pop up.
Boom. Got it. I'm there. I'm in.
I don't think he's in yet.
No, I know. It's just saying some of the things that we say. Boom. Good. I'm good. Got you.
Shalon, are you in? Oh, there you are. Okay, here we go.
It's connected.
Yeah, you're.
Well, welcome. He's in. That's not him. That's me.
Boom. Here we go.
Boom. Got another boom.
Yeah, he's in.
All right. Welcome.
Hi. Welcome.
Hey, there you go.
Finally.
Hey.
Finally. Here we go.
What does that shirt say? Pleasanton or? Okay. Well, you got a better backdrop than Kente. That's a nice. Kente's wall was.
Kente Scott.
Yeah, Kente Scott. His wall was
Let me
plain.
tell you a funny story. Since you brought him up, let me tell you a funny story about Kente.
Mm-hmm.
We were the last two. I played Ashley's boyfriend the last season of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Uh-huh.
Me and Kente were the last two people.
Oh, for the
that,
role.
For that role. Yeah, it was me and Kente, and that's how I got a bond with that brother. We were the last two people. It was between me and him, and they were waiting. Of course, I got it, but we were both waiting to see who was going to get it.
Wow. What was that audition like? Was Will Smith in the audition?
Yes, Will and Ashley were in audition. It was the last season of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I played Kyle, and I played her boyfriend the last season.
Wow, that must have been a great what was it like working with him?
Oh man, one of the coolest people I work with. As long as you knew your lines when it was time to shoot, you could play PlayStation, basketball all day, but when it came to shoot, if you didn't know your shit, then you had a problem.
Okay, so you witnessed some people not knowing their stuff.
Yeah, I did. That's when I think Alex Thomas was one of the lead writers on the show that year.
Okay. Oh, the comedian Alex Thomas?
Yeah, comedian Alex Thomas.
Oh, okay. Good. I wanted to ask you, did you ever box professionally?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And now you grew up in D.C. Is that where you boxed?
Yeah. I boxed in D.C. and I've been coming to California probably since I was 14 years old, man. My first time out here, I was on a bus trip. I was doing the Olympic trials, and we were on the bus going from state to state. And in the summers, I hadn't finished high school yet, but in the summers, I travel and we go to California, Detroit. I was on the bus, just going all over the world. Just pretty much boxing other cities and states.
Now, is your discipline just boxing, or is it also karate or other things, or is it just boxing?
No, boxing and martial arts.
Okay. And which came first, the boxing?
The boxing came first.
Now, because my understanding is that, what's his name? The other comedian is really good. I know Dannon Green boxes, but there's another. Shane does martial arts, right?
Oh, yeah, Shane. Yeah, Shane is pretty good. Shane dabbles a little bit. He's familiar with the arts. Now,
also, Enz, the owner of the Comedy Union, he's familiar with it also, right?
Yeah, Enz is familiar with it, and Enz boxes pretty well. Damon Wayans also boxes pretty well.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, and for people that I know who was very good off The Game, that show The Game, and off Ray Donovan, Pooch Hall, the guy that played Daryl.
Uh-huh.
Very good boxer.
Now, have you ever had an experience or incident with some comics who did not know, but you had to tell them, no, you don't want this?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Speedy and
hilarious
other people. Yeah. You know, Speedy I love Speedy, but, Speedy was a bully. You know that.
Right. So you had to show him, or were just telling him was enough?
Let's just say I lightly just telling him was enough. It never came to an altercation, but it came close a couple times because Speedy would try you.
So did you tag him?
I just showed him that this wasn't a good idea.
Got it. Now, was it anyone else that you had to verbally tell or demonstrate to them?
Along the way, but mostly it was outside of the comedy world, man. When people would just try you for one thing or another. I tell you who else has pretty good hands, man. Martin Lawrence.
Okay, really? But he's kind of light though, huh? But he can still stick you. He's kind of light in the body, but he'll still stick you.
Yeah. Martin will still stick you, man. Martin got a good set of hands.
Okay. So anybody bigger than him would just have to grab him to stop this.
I don't know about now. This was a minute ago. Martin has changed physically over the years.
Okay. Now, does that make you feel a certain I'm sure it does. You have certain security when you're out doing your work that you know I can handle myself, as long as they don't have weapons or anything.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. It's definitely a confidence thing. Always tell people when it comes right down to it, although you don't want to hear it, when an unfortunate situation, when you're faced with it, it's only two roads. You're either the predator or the prey. So it's just which one you want to be.
Now, in doing some research, you put a lot of quotations on your Facebook. Why are they so important to you, and how do you implement them into your life?
It was just things that helped me get through it, and that a lot of coaches, I was raised. My dad was in and out, but I had a lot of men. I was a gym rat, and I had a lot of men who would tell me certain things that kind of stuck with me and just helped me, achieve my goals. And those things kind of stuck with me, and I kind of remember it. I kind of remember the things that helped me, get to where I'm going. Assignment, alignment, execution, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. All that stuff is just still in my head.
Right, because that was one of the things I was going to ask you. What is one of your go-to quotes? And you just hit a few of them.
I think my go-to quote that even refers to this industry is water cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. So it doesn't, it might take that water 50 years, but every day that water might hit up against that rock, and it might take 100 years, but one day when that water hits that rock, it's going to break. But that water was persistent. It never, every day, just kept banging.
Now, I wanted to ask you some things. We always ask questions before we go because we only have a few minutes. Is things you do well and things you don't do well. Can you spell?
Yes, I can.
Cool. What's your education? Did you go to college?
Some, yes.
Where?
Morehouse.
You know, my son went to Morehouse. Okay, so wow, that must have been a great experience for you.
Yes, sir.
Can you cook?
Yes, I can.
Do you golf?
Dibble and dabble in it, mostly for business dealings purposes, but not one of my favorite things to do.
Okay. Can you play an instrument?
Yes, I can.
What instrument?
Mostly percussions. So drums. I'm percussion based, man. I'm from DC, so we got that go-go influence. So drums, timbales, rototoms, congos, stuff like that.
Can you swim?
Yes, I can.
All right, this is a weird question, but can you climb a tree or a fence?
Yes, I can. I had to get away a couple times.
That's what Jeff always said. Normally Jeff is on the show with me, so I was gonna surprise him. Now, because you and Jeff are close, right?
Yeah, Jeff's my man.
Yeah, because I mean, I've always felt that there was a closeness between you two, that you guys just clicked.
Well, we got close. I had runs. Me and Jeff had a run-in when we were a little younger.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had to show him too?
Well, it was just an alpha male thing. Two alpha males eventually gonna bump heads. From my experience.
Well, next week when he's on the show, I'm going to tell him that you said you had to handle him. I have down here, can you fight? But I know that answer. Your most expensive purchase?
Most expensive purchase, house, car.
Okay. Are you scared of heights?
Depends on how high.
Okay. How do you do with scary movies?
I love scary movies, man.
Okay. Here's one of the last questions. What is something you wish you had experienced or wish you had not experienced in your life?
Something I wish I had experienced.
Yeah, or something you wish you had not experienced.
Man, good question. One of my quotes is, "I'm thankful for my struggle because without it, I wouldn't have found my strength. So I wouldn't have tried." I'm kind of glad that I kind of think neglect kind of builds character and independence. So I'm kind of glad for that. But one of the things I wish I had not experienced, probably jail.
Oh, Okay. How long was that?
Couple months.
Cool. Here's a question that they do not like me to ask, but I think I've figured out a way to ask it.
Go ahead.
So, have you ever dated a girl who could not kiss? And did that bother you?
Yeah, I mean, when you say could not kiss, I think she just, I think she could kiss, but she kissed too well. Like she had just done it too much. You know what I mean? It was too sloppy. Like, what are you trying to do? You know?
Fair enough.
She kissed too good. I don't like women that kiss too good.
That's funny. That's fair. Well, good. Glad I found a way to ask it. Hey, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time, and I wanted to know if it's okay to invite you back when Jeff is here.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Just send me the link again.
All right, I will do. Hey, stay safe, and thank you so much, Chalant.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Bye. Okay, that's actually the length of, for you out there, that's the length that Poetess wants these interviews to go. That's the length, that quick, which makes sense now. I can feel that. That felt better. Quick, boom, in the pocket. So listen, it is time for us to go. Jeff Arnold, can we do show one more photo of Jeff, please? Jeff Arnold, there you go. Jeff Arnold on his photo shoot, and we wish him luck. Thank you. I want to thank Kente Scott, Shalon.
Y'all killed me talking about this picture.
Yeah, that picture. Yeah, and then my man said, Kente said he looked like the kid from what was?
Get Out.
Get Out. And Us. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back. A special guest next week. Well, they're all special guests, but one that's actually famous. Tony Rock will be here. So we thank you all. Jeff will be back, and hopefully Dannon will make it back from his trip. Thank you, Boss Lady, and of course, Sheena. Thank you. I'm Louis Dix. We're out.